educated.
All right, man, let's talk about Detroit Lions taking on the Vikings of Minnesota. That will be going down Sunday Night Football. I believe there's some rumors that the Lions may wear their black jerseys. I think the last time they wore them, they lost. They ate potato sauce. But nonetheless, man, very, very interesting game here. I think if you're looking at this game from a logical standpoint, you're probably going to roll with Minnesota. Lions are missing a multitude of dudes. From Aiden Hutchinson, who he didn't make the first move. Elaine McNeil, who was in the first game, or Hutch didn't make the first game. Carlton Davis, but then you look at it last year. I know they had a backup quarterback. I forget his name. I kind of like their backup from last year. He was pretty solid other than the turnovers. But yeah, you got the guy that's a backup and last year. And they found a way to go all the way to the NFC Championship game with a secondary that, quite frankly, wasn't good, but you had more of a interesting pass rush last year. You still have McNeil, you still had Aiden Hutchinson, but it was talks about where their pass rush wasn't at. You know what I'm saying? That's where the talks is like, okay, what happened to their pass rush? You know what I'm saying? That was issues last year. Remember Hutchinson was getting up sacks. McNeil, that's how he made his name last year. He started getting sacks. So yeah, you started to hear some things. You started to hear some things over there like, okay, excuse me, so they went through that last year, and then you see this year, I think Buffalo exposed some things kind of with their linebackers, and then, I think that was a lot to do with injury and a lot to do with Josh Allen, but we played him before and he didn't go that crazy. So yeah, we're being honest. They're going to do what Buffalo did. They're going to do what San Francisco did. They're going to try to get play action. They're going to try to do a lot of misdirection and play action and get people going across the formation. You're going to see that a lot. Knowing they don't have a pass rush and being able to get your receivers to the second and third read, that is pretty much going to be the name of the game for the Minnesota Vikings and people that face the Lions going forward. That's what you about to get. They're going to try to run the ball, try to get the Lions behind the sticks on offense, run the ball, play action, and they're going to try to bring guys across that formation. Simple as that. When you play a lot of man-to-man coverage or even zone, anything dragging across the formation, that's what you want. If it's a drag route, a shallow crosser route, deep post, skinny post, or if it's a slant route, they're going to exploit that. Now you say, well, how could the Lions actually try to stop that type of game? Well, you got to get a pass rush. You have to take away that first read. A lot of times Brock Purdy was going to that first read. A lot of times in Buffalo, versus Buffalo, they were going to that first read. So, yeah, that's one thing you look at. A lot of them, you take away that first read, I really think then it really becomes a different ball game. So you got to get pressure. You got to take away that first read. And when he get off that play action, man, you got to move him off that mark. If he get to sit down and sit in that on that mark and Sam Darnold, any quarterback, and he got pretty athletic too, then it actually really starts to become a true issue. So you're going to see a lot of teams try to, play action, get the linebackers to suck down and throw behind them. Now, naturally, the Lions would love to play man-to-man coverage and take away and probably put, an Anzoni or drop a safety, rob a safety in the middle of that defense. That's probably what they want to do. And an adjustment they made versus San Francisco was they allowed Kirby Joseph to play single high and start jumping those routes that was across the middle. So you're going to see Minnesota try to expose that a lot. Minnesota going to stretch you vertically, and Minnesota going to try to go over the middle. And what makes it so easy to go over the middle these days in the NFL is that there's no fear. I can't kill you across the middle like we used to in the NFL. So you see a lot of quarterbacks get a lot of confident. They can get confident going over the middle of the field now because the defenders can't hit you like they used to, and receivers can go up there with a bunch of confidence now, and you're not gonna get hit like you used to get hit. So the Lions, right now, they number one thing is guess what? We have to stop receivers from attacking the middle of the field. With those crossing and those drags and those slant routes, we have to take that away. We have to take that away. You know, um, so ideally, you want to let these dudes go outside the hashes because it's more timing. If the timing is a split second off going outside the hashes, it could be 6. It's going to be incomplete, and you have the boundary to be the 12th defender. So they have a lot of challenges when you talking about going against Minnesota and what they have on film and how they're going to attack that Lions defense. So I'm very interested to see what's the Lions trump card. You know, what's the trump card they're going to have to stop what teams been doing. And uh they've been playing more zone because of the injuries, but you can pass through zones. So Anazoni will help if he's able to play this week, where there's some rumors that he may get out there and play this week. That will help. Trust and believe me. Campbell ended up on an injury report, I think, with a rib or a calf. Somebody else got a calf. So, but but yeah, but like I continue to say, man, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting how they attack that. And for Minnesota, that's what you're gonna do. You're going to attack the middle of the field. You're going to force the Lions, you know, to play the sticks. And like I said, the Lions defensive linemen got to get their hands up in the air. The Lions defensive line, they got to get pressure. They got to bring him down. They have to be able to make him go to a second read. Make him go to that second read. And if they can make him go to that second read, then I think it is going to get real interesting for them. But Minnesota, they're going to do the same thing. And then what's dangerous about them is where, they're going to stretch them vertically outside the hashes. So when you play Minnesota, you got to play every piece of blade of grass when you play them. So, and then, defensively for Minnesota, you want to stop the run, limit the explosive. But when you blitz like Minnesota, the problem becomes when you blitz like Minnesota, there becomes one glaring problem. And the biggest glaring problem is if a team runs the ball versus the blitz or picks the blitz up than the passing game, you're going to give up chunk plays. So I think that's one thing to think about Minnesota defense. When they come to blitz, you're going to give up chunk plays. So a veteran quarterback who knows how to identify the blitz, a veteran quarterback and a line calling the right protections. If I'm a betting man, I'm looking for Jahmyr Gibbs to be big out the backfield again. Maybe even Craig Reynolds to be big out the backfield. Sam Laporta wasn't a factor in maybe like 70% of the season. He's starting to come on now. So he's going to be very interesting. He's another weapon they have to cover and what he can do in the blocking game. So, yeah, in my humble opinion, Minnesota blitzes is going to be interesting to see if the Lions can get the ball out hot to their backs. I think that if they're successful, that's going to happen. If they can run into and get past the blitz or run away from the blitz, it's going to be chunk plays there. And they can pick up the protections, and especially if you max protects and they bring in extra people, then you got a lot of matchups that you actually like out there. So, yeah, Minnesota, I don't know if they want to pretend like, okay, because they're going to put some wrinkles in. I don't know if they want to pretend like, we going to blitz and not really blitz like they used to blitzing. What the wrinkles they going to put in, but they are who they are at this point of the season. But yeah, for them to be successful in this game is really, be aggressive. I think keep the Lions defensively behind the chains. keep them in long situations, be aggressive, um, stop the run. And then offensively for them, it's just put that, I don't think they have to get sexy in the passing game. I don't think they have to be sexy in the passing game. I think, exploiting those corners, taking shots every now and again, running the football, getting the ball to their receivers, intermediate, short, and then, maybe them, going getting the Lions on a double move or something like that. So we'll see. But offensively, they're explosive. But if I'm the Lions, um, I might be a tad more aggressive in this game. I might be a tad bit more aggressive. I might be on the extreme scale. I might be very um, either I might be very bend don't breakish, and then on the other side of the scale, I may be very aggressive. Probably no in between. So yeah, I look forward to seeing how they play it for the Lions. Maybe they at home, so if it's a track meet, they feel very comfortable at home. But with that defense, I wouldn't want it to track meet. I would want to keep that defense off the line off the field as much as possible. So I would want to keep that defense off the field as much as possible. So that'll be my thing. I probably play a lot of ball control. I probably run the ball. I probably look to hit the back short. Just look to move the chains. Just look to run them. Then possibly play action, and then I look to get it out the mud and get it up the field. And defensively for them, like I said, either you bend don't break or I'm being aggressive. I'm probably being more aggressive this game with some how can I say it, with a lot of um aggression as well too. So but yeah, that's just my opinion on it. But I kind of went back and forth who I thought was going to win this game. I said the Lions win by a point. I'm going to say it's a season finale. It is the last game of the season. I'm probably going to say this is probably going to be 40-41 point game. I'm going to say the Lions win by on a Jake Bates extra point. I think it's going to be a high shootout matchup. You know, that's what I think. I think it's going to be uh I think it's going to be a high shootout, um, a high shootout game. But you hear the conversation about who needs home field advantage more, and it by first, I believe it's the Lions. You know what I'm saying? Minnesota has a great away record at 6-1. We have a great 8-0 record, but where that lies at is health. The less games the Lions can play and allow guys to get healthy, then that's the best thing that's for the Detroit Lions. The health wise, rest wise, let guys get healthy or whatever. So I think for them, just from a health standpoint of view, that's what they pretty much need to do. And you want to have that home field advantage at the crib, in my humble opinion. So, and also you see the line is at 3. I think it opened at some lines opened up at 2.5 for the Lions. So they slightly favor the Lions, but that defense is scaring a lot of people. But in a division game, they should know. They know the Vikings a lot, and they have big weapons with Addison and Jefferson. And what you want to do is limit the explosive plays, limit the plays over the middle. You really want to wrap up and tackle this game. So yeah, it should be a good game. I like the Lions 41-40. Don't be surprised if this ain't a low scoring game too, because it tends to be like when you expect a high scoring game, it tends to be a low scoring game. But they got the total at 56.5. The over and under money line 135 for the Lions. So do what you must with that. Appreciate the love support. Hit the link tree. Find me on X, Facebook, Instagram if you need to tap in. Financially want to support. Cash App, $ CJ Good 313. Venmo, CJ Good 313. PayPal link description. Appreciate the love, support. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Check out the Lions prediction playlist and Detroit Lions talk playlist. Peace.